Alright guys, welcome to the first final match between two players here at the WCS Korea Qualifier. We currently have MadBull starting to the top left of the map. We are here on WCS, and this is the first map between him and his opponent Sora, starting to the bottom right. So we have a PvP, and the winner of this is going to go to the Challenger League. And it's actually a really interesting match. Sora, currently on screen, he defeated Juni in the last and also the first match that he played today. And on the other hand, we had already MadBull successful against Shine, which was actually a pretty cool game. 2-0 series for MadBull here in a Protoss versus Zerg, whereas Sora was also playing in the same matchup. The two Protoss players advance and face each other now in a mirror match on WCS in game number 1. And as already mentioned, the winner will qualify for the individual league, for the Challenger League here in Korea. Well, MadBull is a former NSOSA player. NSOSA, of course, disbanded, but he was one of those guys that caused a lot of laughter, especially in the last Team League season, since he was always good for a joke, always had his leg up there, and kind of had a couple of really interesting games as well. He was one of those promising players that the team had. Did quite well, by the way, in the last qualifier too. I think he reached the finals, if I'm not mistaken. And also Jagji was talking a little bit about him and saying, like, well, he's one of the best players that we currently have. He has a lot of potential. If he improves a little bit, he can go, like, very, very far. The problem that he has, on the other hand, is that he's up against Sora right now. Sora is one of those up-and-coming players where a lot of people expect him to do extremely well. And one of the main reasons is actually the WCG qualifier that we just recently had in Korea. Sora was absolutely killing it. The guy was taking out Curious with a 2-0 in the round of 16 in the quarterfinals. Then he didn't leave Gumiho a chance. The Terran player for Team FX Open didn't even take a single map against Sora. And then when the Protoss player was up against Solkey, everyone's just looking at it was like, well, you're up against Solkey now, you have no chance. Like, Solkey is going to take that and is going to go to the finals. But nope, Sora took him down with a 2-0. Pretty impressive play by the Protoss, and then met parting in the finals, where he finally found his master and was taken out without winning a single map in a Protoss versus Protoss. Maybe a matchup where he's a little bit weaker than in others, but the guy is pretty impressive, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he's going to fare against MadBull here, who is a player that is making a name for himself, but definitely doesn't have accomplishments where you just look at it and it's like, oh my god, wow, he defeated all those players. So just from the WCG run that we saw from Sora, you would actually think that he is going to be the favorite player in this particular match. But MadBull has improved in the past already a lot. We didn't see a lot of him since the last Code A qualifier, so we could actually just see a completely new player here, someone who really just tuned his skills a little bit. And at this point, both of them, very, very similar play. We have the scouts at exactly the same time, and the gas timings, whereas you could see identical for both of them. And the only thing that differs here a little bit is the timing for the mothership core that we see, because we have the Stalker a little bit faster for Sora. But MadBull is already moving out at this point. So both of them just trying to put the aggression out on the field. We have immediately the Xel'Naga Watchtowers here being taken. And with the Xel'Naga Watchtowers being taken, they will see each other's mothership like really soon. First difference here is that we have now a Nexus for Sora right off one gate, whereas on the other hand, MadBull doesn't really have that yet. He's trying to be aggressive in the game, moving out with his own Stalker and the mothership core, claiming the Xel'Naga Watchtower here and trying to control the center of the map. For him, we do not have that expansion just yet, but he's moving down and taking his own Nexus now as well. He's going to pretty soon. Sora is already heading straight into the robotics. We have a little bit of an additional Stalker here that MadBull could try to use, but his expansion, as you can see, is pretty much delayed at this point. Doesn't really get it just yet. And we have now the Nexus being started, but this already leaves us in a position where MadBull in the early game might have a little bit of an advantage given the unit, so he's going to play a bit more safer here. But at the same time, Sora is in a sick position where he has the earlier expansion, he has the better economy therefore, and he also has the tech with the robotics that he immediately started. And he knows everything that's happening, he saw that right away. Whereas on the other hand, if you just look at the vision that we have for MadBull, he has no clue. He has no idea what's going on here, he does not know about the tech, and Sora gets away with both. The earlier expansion with a faster tech, MadBull just now getting his own robotics. So in terms of timings and in terms of builds, everything going just really well for Sora right now. Additional gateways for both of them, MadBull trying to get his production up. He doesn't know about the pylon here to the right side of the map. He himself has a pylon to the left, but Sora now with a really good warp in point to just walk in and try to do some damage to the natural. But at the same time also the faster Immortal here for the for the pink Protoss player, whereas the first observer is already out and will give Sora exactly what he needs. He doesn't even leave it off to chance. He's going in with another hallucination, double checking, seeing everything about the timings. He doesn't want to run into any kind of super aggressive build that MadBull could pull off here and try to just throw his opponent off guard. So he's actually scouting with a Phoenix. He's sending then also the observer in, and he knows everything that is going on here. Knows that he's in a pretty decent position, but MadBull is, as already mentioned earlier, he's trying to be a little bit more aggressive moving out. The problem for him really being that with the first Immortal already in the game and the second one halfway done, Sora is in a decent spot to defend this. And he already knows. He knows what's going on, and the damage potential of the Immortal alone is just insane in this matchup. The Stalkers don't stand a chance, but there's so many of them right now. And actually a really good time warp here. Force field's decent at the front. The first one is already down. Another sentry is going to die here if he starts attacking. Takes down a lot of these units. MadBull really being aggressive here. He definitely has the army supply advantage, or had the army supply advantage. But thanks to the Photon Overcharge and the second Immortal, the hopes of MadBull to end this game quickly are already gone. Photon Overcharge, definitely one of the best tools that you have as a Protoss player to defend in the early game, and that's exactly what you could see there. The army size for MadBull before the fight was better, but only a few seconds in it equalized as we shown on the board, and then the Mothership Core alone with the Photon Overcharge doing quite a lot here. Looking at the Harvester count, we have both of them at the same. The tech is really the big problem that we currently have for MadBull. 3 Immortals on the board already in the game for MadBull, whereas on the other hand we have... Sorry, for Sora, of course. MadBull, on the other hand, he's trying to go straight into the robotics bay, and Sora, he does not stop his production in regards to the Immortals. He's cranking out another one, going up to 4, and that's actually really dangerous. Even if you have the faster Colossi, if your opponent has this many Immortals and he gets close enough to the Colossus to do some damage, that might die instantly. Helps, of course, if you also have a Warp Prism. One of the reasons why we immediately see the Warp Prism here for Sora, who's now as a second option then going into the Robotics Bay on his own. But MadBull, he is going into double Stargate right now. He actually did cancel his own robotics bay that he had here. Double Stargate for him now, trying to overwhelm his opponent with his tech choice. Question, of course, now being, does he have the time to really get all of this out? MadBull is getting his own Warp Prism himself, and with that, he might be in a position where he can just slow Sora down a little bit and try to just go in aggressively, maybe into the main base, distract his opponent. He still has a pretty sizable force on the board, both of them on the same army supply, but the tech for Sora here, with a range upgrade for the Colossi, with a +1 attack upgrade started, is pretty decent. It's all a question of, can MadBull maybe blindside his opponent here? Doesn't really look like it though, because at this point we already have the Protoss player in pink moving in, double Immortal drop into the main base, and those two, yeah, they will be revealed. He might take down the pylon, and if he kills the Atosis pylon here, that would be devastating. Another round of warp, and he wants to go for the Nexus. The pylon alone will already give him so much, and he knows that this Warp Prism is most likely going down, but just look at the Immortals here doing so much damage, and the Zealots at the front taking it. Here we go once again, the Warp Prism being attacked, going down, the Immortals gone. Sora losing them, but in regards to resources lost, he's already behind because of it. Losing the Warp Prism, losing the Immortals, and not doing as much as he really wanted to. He took down 6 Harvesters in total, but he could have sniped this pylon. Easy peasy, limit the production of his opponent in regards to the gateways, and also unpower both Stargates to make sure that these early Void Rays are not going to be an issue. So definitely one of those things where Sora could have maybe targeted a little bit better. The chances of actually taking down the Nexus were kind of slim, but he was deciding to go for it. MadBull, on the other hand, now trying to go for the initiative. He's trying to move in, double Immortal drop on his own in his opponent's main base, trying to snipe the Cybernetics core here. Maybe he can do something against his opponent's Immortal on his own, at least using all his forces, or at least the drop to push his opponent's forces to the right side. But now at the left we have Sora moving in with the last that he has, but we have the Void Race with a Photon Overcharge, and oh my god, he does not target that Colossus properly. Could have taken it down, but he wants to take this space, and that's what he does. Here we go again. Sora is fully aware that he can't move into this. He cancels, has no chance of holding the third. MadBull with a really good timing here. There was nothing that Sora could do against this army. The Colossus at least survives, and that leaves him a little bit to work with. We still have the Warp Prism to the right side of the map, and it was already spotted. Here comes that one observer, and we have the Immortals moving to the left side, joining up with our army that MadBull currently has. Army supply in his favor, heavily, 71 to 57. Looking at the upgrades, we have an advantage for Sora, but but MadBull is on the prowl right now. He wants to take this. He has the base to the top right, taking it right now, but we have Sora with a warp in pile that he could always just use to force a cancel, go into the mineral line, do some damage. Warp Prism once again on the move, and at this point MadBull really putting those Void Rays to work. He's really trying to do something with this, but he's falling behind in the upgrades. That third base on the other hand might really work for him. He's moving in once again, the Void Rays immediately with the overcharge, trying to take down the Nexus. He's just going for the snipe. He doesn't give two shits about that army. He's moving in, the Void Rays right now shielded, and you have the recall immediately. Great snipe, hit and run by MadBull. Sora a little bit in trouble. He sees his opponents, he sees the base, he knows that he's in trouble. He is down to one mining base against already 3. He's trying to get his next back into the picture, and of course the attack that we saw by MadBull immediately initiated a counter aggression by Sora. He needs to do something. He can't just sit tight, let his opponent harvest from 3 bases, and he himself just being on only one mining, and that being his main base. He's moving out with what he has, and that's actually a lot. The +2 attack upgrade is not done just yet, but he has the Archons at least in the game, and here we go once again. But MadBull is moving in with the overcharge once again on the Void Rays. He's doing so much damage here, and Sora with a couple of the Archons not really doing a lot of damage. A few of the Void Rays go down, and the recall is good. Another Archon is toast. And MadBull, oh my god, resources lost in this game in his favor. The Void Ray army is pretty impressive here, and Alicia already showed us that Void Rays are a pretty good unit to build when you're up against a Zerg player, but MadBull, he knows that is also true for the PvP. Void Ray army here, and Sora does not have a lot that he can really throw against this army composition. He is still on one mining base. That natural is not done just yet. The income is so in favor of MadBull at this point, and he's just now saturating his third. That will actually even increase. So at this point he's moving out once again. The army supply here heavily in his favor, moving in with units from the left side as well, trying to take down everything that Sora has here. MadBull in game number 1 in the best of 3 is looking like he is able to clench out a victory here. Only a few immortals are left. There's no anti. The GG, and MadBull takes game number 1 against Sora in the final here of the WCS Korea Qualifier.